Good afternoon and thanks for making time with me, AC Benewanyame, for Midday Live. The bulletin is live from the News Hub here at Adisawe Kanda in Accra. The headlines. Chief Fire Officer directs regional and district fire officers to engage ministries, departments and agencies to ensure compliance with its safety audits. Ministry for Special Development Initiatives, Mavis Hawakumsim, says Savanna Zone will be the hub for government's agricultural economic-led transformation. And in international news, this afternoon, French presidential candidate Emmanuel Macron condemns massive hacking attacks as documents leaked. So the details of these and other stories, plus sports and entertainment, all coming up in the next 1 hour. This is Midday Live. Now to our very first story. Chief Fire Officer Dr. Albert Brown-Gazy has directed all regional and district fire officers to engage the ministries, departments and agencies to ensure they comply with its safety audits before the rainy season sets in. The directive follows an audit which revealed most government buildings have not been rewired after 60 years.
For the past 2.5 years, we have been able to organize safety audits for all MDAs. And we have identified some key issues that we need to collaborate with them to ensure that we resolve them. Some of the buildings are quite old. Some haven't had rewiring for so many years. Some 50, 60 years they hadn't been rewired. We identified all these things and reports had been sent. I know occasionally there may be budgetary constraints, but that should not be a factor, not for them to be fire safety conscious. So within the next couple of weeks, a team will go around again to validate the safety audits that we have done. And I think for this time, when we get the results, we may have no alternative than to meet the appropriate hierarchy, sit with them and discuss. Because if, as we get to the rainy season, you have naked wires and water falls on it or rain falls on it, you cannot overlook the possibility that there will be eminent sparks. And these sparks, when they get into contact with combustibles, spontaneously, they may set wherever you are ablaze. So it's been a major concern, and I'm issuing the orders to all the regional commands, metropolitan municipal commanders and district commanders to review the safety audits. Some might have also improved based on our recommendation, and especially will determine whether they have conformed to whatever directives that we might have given as a way of protecting their property.
In other developments, the United Nations Security Council has condemned in its strongest terms a rocket attack on the peacekeeping camp in Mali that killed 1 and wounded 9 others. The council is demanding the Malian government swiftly investigate the attacks and bring those responsible for justice. It stressed that under international law, targeting peacekeepers may be a war crime. Islamist extremists calling themselves Group for the Support of Islam and Muslims is claiming responsibility for Wednesday's rocket attacks on the camp in Timbuktu. A Liberian peacekeeper was killed. UN peacekeepers and French forces are helping Mali deal with the remnants of an Islamist insurgency in the north. Also, the compound in Timbuktu, Mali, where more than 100 Ghanaian soldiers are stationed, has been hit by intense rocket attacks, and there have been concerns among Ghanaians. Some may have been injured in the attack. On Friday, special social media was flooded with pictures of supposed Ghanaian soldiers hit in an attack on their UN base in Mali. Let's speak to Colonel Eric Agrekwashi, who is the Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Armed Forces. Good afternoon, Colonel, and thanks so much for your time.
Good afternoon, my sister.
Well, so were these Ghanaians, were there Ghanaian casualties in the Mali attacks?
I'm sorry, no Ghanaian was injured in that attack. All our troops are safe.
Well, so concerns about Ghanaian troops in Mali. What assurance do you have for Ghanaians and their families, families of the troops?
What I can tell the general public is that our personnel are safe, and we are following whatever arrangements that have been put at that camp for the personnel safety. And this was an incident that was not expected, because some rounds just dropped into the camp, and as of now, we don't even know which group of people attacked the camp. And so, being a military person also, once you're out there, you look out for some of these things, and that is why you are there. The security situation in that country is bad. You are going there to help to bring things under control, and some of these incidents also can happen. But so far, everything is fine with our personnel.
Well, so we are grateful that some of the Ghanaians there were not affected. But on social media, we see some of the pictures supposed to be some of the soldiers there. Should we refute those pictures coming in?
Yeah, you see, the Ghanaians are not the only blacks in that mission area, and so if you see a black person and you just jump to the conclusion that it's a Ghanaian without checking, cross-checking from us, you will not be helping the general public and then the families who have their kinsmen deployed in that area.
Well, so I know you might have heard from them. What is the situation there?
The situation there is okay. Things are under control, and they are doing their work as expected. Those who are injured to responding to treatment.
Well, thanks so much, Colonel Agrekwashi, for your time here on Midday Live. I have been speaking with Colonel Agrekwashi, Public Relations Officer of the Director Ghana Armed Forces. Let's move on to some other stories. And the Forestry Commission has given a 2-month ultimatum to Rosewood exporting companies affected by the 2016 stop work order to clear their goods under a special certificate. The new directive is to help decongest the ports while steps are taken to review the ban. Meanwhile, the Commission is to begin processing of Rosewood logs locally for value addition before export.
Rosewood became a fast-selling commodity in the timber industry in the last decade when its samples were added to be exhibited for promotion. Its acceptability in the international market led to the granting of permits to a few timber merchants to harvest and export the product. However, the concessionaires have taken the harvesting and export of Rosewood out of control, leading to its listing on the endangered species watch list. This prompted government to ban the harvesting and exportation of rosewood. However, in July 2015, 13 companies were granted permits to salvage confiscated logs to allow an evaluation of the situation. Here again, the licensed companies were alleged to have continued to overstep their boundary and engage in the felling of new trees. The Ministry of Land and Natural Resources, in response, directed another with a grace period expiring on December 31, 2016. The Forestry Commission began the enforcement of the ban on January 10, 2017, leading to a number of consignments getting stuck at the port.
The affected companies have been given a 2-month notice from the day of this press conference to complete this exercise. It is not in the interest of the Forestry Commission or the Ministry of Lands and Forestry to stop people from working. But it is expected that the Forestry Commission, based on its mandate, will bring sanity in terms of regulating the industry.
The new directive is to help decongest the port while steps are taken to streamline the business.
There are conditions why they were given the permits to work. So if they don't go according to those conditions spelled out, then of course we have to review the permits and licenses that were given to them.
The Deputy Chief Executive of the Forestry Commission, John Alote, also hinted of plans to process rosewood logs locally for value addition, adding that ability to process rosewood locally would be a priority in the selection of future timber merchants.
The International Association for Impact Assessments has called for an immediate audit of all galamsey sites across the country. In its view, the auditing will indicate how much water and land have been destroyed and how reclamation could be done.
The group attributed the problem to the lack of proactiveness by state institutions to enforce the laws on galamsey. It therefore recommended that the Environmental Protection Agency (EPA) should collaborate with the Minerals Commission before issuing licenses. The IAIA suggested to the Minerals Commission to license separate companies which are involved in earth-moving equipment for proper monitoring. The president for IAIA in Ghana, Yao Ameya Osei, called for an immediate auditing of all galamsey sites to enhance reclamation of the land. He was of the view the auditing would also indicate how the Minerals Commission should streamline the processing of minerals by these galamseyers.
Areas that must be reclaimed is reclaimed. Areas that still harbor mineable ore is given to them. And we are proposing that they form community district cooperatives, you see, so that they can also be protected, they can also be guided.
The Water Research Institute of the CSIR proposed to government to legalize operations of these galamseyers for improved monitoring of their activities. Chairman for Media Coalition Against Galamsey, Ken Ashigbe, called for a broader education drive to address the problem.
We need to demonstrate to them that when you bring the ore from the mining site and bring them into your bedrooms and create a refinery out of that, and all you do is put some cloth around on your nose, you are still poisoning yourself, and this is the effect.
Deputy Director General of CSIR, Professor Rose Emma Entia, charged the media to tighten up campaign against galamsey.
And still staying on this particular story, the Ashanti Regional Chapter of the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners has inaugurated a 50-man task force to partner government and the Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining. The task force is to monitor the activities of illegal miners, partially called galamsey, and provide leads to government and relevant agencies to descend on them. Now I have Emmanuel Yurinchi Entry, and he is the Director of Operations Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners, and he joins me via Skype. Good afternoon, Emmanuel. Thanks for your time.
Good afternoon.
Well, Emmanuel, if you can speak up a bit for me. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Well, so first of all, how many of the task forces have been set up, and which regions are they?
Yes, like we said, we were going to set up all the 9 mining districts, task force for the 9 mining districts. And now the one that we just set up in the eastern region, or the Odan district, add up to a 3rd one. Next week, there will be a 4th one. We've so far set up one in Takwa, Dunkwao, and then now Odan mining district. So very soon we'll move on to the other areas, and then we do same. Now the composition of the task force is members from the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners, and then members from the security agencies, and then reps from the traditional authorities as well. We are just doing this jointly so that we get rid of those on the river bodies, the dredgers on the river bodies, and then also the galamsey operators as well.
Well, so Emmanuel, how are these groups going to work?
Basically, what they are going to
what
do
would be
is
their mandate?
The task force, yes, their mandate is to look for dredgers on the river bodies and then push them off the river bodies and then seize the dredges and then destroy them. The Galamsey operators, we arrest them and then we hand them over to the police. And then the police will take it up from there. The composition, the police is part of the composition. And so once we identify them and then we get them, we just send them to the police and the police take over. It's also, I would want to make it clear for everybody to know that the task force is made up of divers, it's made up of informants and then preventive persons as well.
Well, so is there a collaboration with other state agencies?
Yes, there is a total collaboration with other state agencies. As during our inauguration, they were all there. All the security agencies were there. The BNI were there, the National Security, the Ghana Police, EPA, NADMO, Minerals Commission, Inspectorate Division, they were all there.
Well, Emmanuel, thanks so much for your time. We'll get back to you when the teams have been formed and when they start work. Thanks so much. Well, so I have been speaking with Emmanuel Entry, and he is the Director of Operations Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners, speaking to us about the task force that has been set by the association. This is still Midday Live. Let's do other stories. And the Minister for Special Development Initiatives, Mavis Hawakumsin, says the Savanna zone will be the hub for government's agricultural economic-led transformation. The minister noted the zone has positioned itself for takeoff and success of most of the agricultural initiatives and programs. Eva Atiboka has more.
The SADA zone is 54.4% of Ghana. It has over 8 million hectares of arable land, 95 medium and 23 larger dam sites, and over 400 cubic meters of runoff water annually. These are best positions in the area for commercial and irrigation agriculture, with energetic, resilient and hard-working people.
The President is so keen on agriculture, growing for food and jobs. So since the northern part is the ecological area, we will surely also do much of the agric.
With plans to boost agriculture for employment and food security, the minister noted most projects undertaken by the Savanna Accelerated Development Authority sets the pace for implementation and excellent results for government's agricultural initiatives. Hawakumsin assured government is starting with the construction of small and medium dams across the 3 regions of the north.
We have rains here, even though it's not throughout the year, but we have other segments water that we can turn into irrigation to do the farming all around the year.
Locating and mapping all the viable irrigation infrastructure, including small dams, medium-sized dams and large dams. So these dams can be multi-purpose. We believe that the ones we have mapped can provide guidance as to where the priority investment in dams should be. Other villages where dams are not feasible may be underground water systems.
Existing dams will also be given attention. Farmers have already started counting their wealth in anticipation.
3-4 bucks. 50 million, I say 20 million.
The minister, after visiting the 400-hectare Sicily irrigation project, noted many of such in the area could change local economies. Hawakumsin also visited other irrigation dams in the 3 regions of the north. She assured government's agriculture-led transformation will best achieve impact in the zone.
SADA's development partner UNLINK Savanna offices in the northern region have been opened after being closed down for about 2 months. Alleged irate NPP youth stormed the company, halting a poverty alleviation project. The SADA office in Tamale has also been threatened twice.
UNLINK Savanna partnered the Savanna Accelerated Development Authority to implement poverty alleviation strategies in the SADA zone. UNLINK Savanna supplied motorized machinery to the rural poor, while the Savanna Accelerated Development Authority, SADA, offered facilitatory and coordination support. The poverty alleviation project, aimed at improving the socio-economic lives of people of the SADA zone, supplied 2,000 tricycles in 2016, directly employing over 2,000 youth. 3,000 tricycles were earmarked to be distributed in 2017 across the 5 regions of the SADA zone. Sold at a base price of 7,500 cedis on hire purchase and payable within a year, beneficiaries who signed onto the project are refusing to pay. They insisted they won't pay because the tricycles were being supplied to government through the company. This brought SADA and Unique Savanna into a coalition course, with some MPP youth calling itself the Kandahar Boys. The Kandahar Boys allegedly stormed Unique Savanna offices to beat up the private investor, locking up the offices. SADA offices were also not spared. The Minister for Special Development Initiatives, Mavis Howard-Kumson, has now opened the offices for the company to start operations.
We thank you for opening the warehouses and then the containers. When the committee is done with its work, you make effort to also get at least one and then give it to somebody to be running it for you as you pay it gradually.
She has also initiated talks with the Kandahar Boys to end the incessant attacks on SADA and its investors.
In other news, the Criminal Investigations Department of the Ghana Police Service recorded a total of 186,432 cases in 2016 compared to 177,241,000 in 2015. Director General of CID, DCOP, Bright Odro, who disclosed this at the 2016 WASA in Accra, credited the feat to increase in skills upgrading and intelligence gathering.
The CID in the year under review received a total of 186,434 complaints, 9,193 more than the reports in 2015, which stood at 177,241 cases. Director General of CID, DCOP Bright Odro, said intensified surveillance on the highways for armed robbery activities led to the arrest of 22 suspected armed robbers. Out of these arrests, the police gained 28.1% conviction of cases sent to court, while 2.7% were acquitted. Addressing the 2016 CID WASA in Accra, Director General of Police CID, DCOP Bright Odro, insisted the department would have done better if all logistics required were provided.
And at this stage, I wish to emphasize that the fight against crime is a relentless one, and the CID will continue to work with all other police establishments and sister security agencies in order to win the fight.
Deputy Interior Minister Henry Korte called for regular training to upgrade the skills of personnel in modern investigative techniques and intelligence gathering.
We live in a world where the criminals have become very sophisticated in their approach to criminal activities. So they need to try to be one step ahead of them. Human rights and liberties of individuals are very crucial and must be respected at all times.
He reiterated the ministry's preparedness to support the police improve on the skills of officers.
You're still live on Midday Live with me, AC Benewa Nyamitu Samuarin situation, and a 45-year-old trader, Aku Koshi, who subjected her 3-year-old nephew to torture and brutal assault, is to be convicted on Monday, May 8th. This followed her plea of guilt to 2 counts of physical abuse and causing harm contrary to Section 69 of the Criminal Code 1960, Act 29.
The 3-year-old victim is the son of the suspect's senior brother who had been living with her since January this year at Agbogbloshe. This followed a misunderstanding between his parents at Kajadonya near Ada in the Greater Accra region. Police say the 45-year-old suspect Akukoshi constantly abused the victim at the least provocation and for allegedly begging for food. The Regional Domestic Violence and Victim Support Coordinator, Superintendent Phyllis Amati Buaose, said Akukwoshi reportedly stabbed the 3-year-old boy and assaulted him for soiling his body. She said a next-door neighbor prompted the attention of the police, leading to the arrest of Aku on May 1.
Please ensure that the people you give your children out to are fit themselves, and then they will not cause harm to your children. Additionally, please pay them regular visits, see how they are doing. Don't just dump them and then forget about them. We also want to appeal to all public members that anybody who wants to report, you can also report any incident on 18555.
The victim was rescued and sent for medical treatment at the police hospital. Meanwhile, suspect Akukwoshi has been charged with 3 counts of starvation, physical abuse and causing harm contrary to Section 69 of the Criminal Code of 1960, Act 29.
The District Baptist Medical Center in the East Mamprusi district of the Northern Region continues to record more malaria cases owing to the misuse of mosquito nets. Among the top 10 diseases recorded at the facility in 2016, malaria came first with some 14,846 patients.
Out of 70,713 patients who visited the facility in 2016, 14,846 were malaria cases. The figure is a little over double the figure recorded in 2015. In 2015, the center recorded 7,081, up from 4,890 in 2014. Under-age 5 malaria cases in 2016 was also pegged at 2,631 with 40 deaths. The figure was 2,605 with 71 deaths in 2015, up from 1,316 with 48 deaths in 2014. Officials at the center say most patients arrived at the facility in bad state. Their fears are June to November, where available resources are always overstretched. The children's ward is a 52-bed capacity against 150 admissions daily, compelling babies to share beds in spite of cross-infection.
A ward that's supposed to be 52 patients, carrying over 100 plus. You can imagine the situation. We see a lot of patients on the floor, one bed, more than 3 patients sharing one bed, which is not the best, cross-infection and other things. So we are working seriously to see how best we can get different space to decongest the situation. And the patient come today, when you just attend to the patient and you see that maybe the condition has improved some more, then you go ahead and discharge.
Many other children and their mothers receive treatment on the bare floor. Administrator of the center, Edward Adai, noted constant distribution and education on the use of mosquito nets have not yielded much results. Edward Adai observed some residents use the mosquito nets to fence gardens. He hinted chiefs and opinion leaders in rural communities will be involved to stop the practice. He's hopeful mosquito nets will be put to good use to reduce malaria in subsequent years.
The Veterinary Services Directorate is asking the public to desist from patronizing meat that is not embossed by the Directorate stamps. The Veterinary Service has launched a Quality Assurance Meat Inspection Stamp. Well, my colleague Catherine Frimpong joins us live from the Kaneshi Market, the meat section of that part of town, and joins us with updates there. Hello, Catherine, good afternoon, and what have you seen so far? Well, we will be talking to Catherine Frimpoma in a moment, but let me brief you on exactly what she will be talking to us about. The Veterinary Services Directorate is asking the public to desist from patronizing meat that is not embossed with the directory stamp. So the Veterinary Services has launched a quality assurance meat inspection stamp. Okay, so Catherine Frimpoma is live
all over the world due to food poisoning, which is directly linked to meat. And as food safety is concerned, this has raised some awareness among the Ghanaian community, which has also forced the Veterinary Services Department to Veterinary Services Department to launch a directive, which is the Quality Assurance Meat Inspection Stamping Project. It was actually launched this week in Takoradi, and they are anticipating to replicate it across the country. And so we are here today at the Kanishi market to find out how things are going here, because when the meat is inspected at the abattoir and slaughterhouses, it comes to the market for consumers to
Let's do other stories in a moment, but we will pause here. When we come back, we have more news. Midday Live. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. Ghana's first female Chief Justice, Georgina Theodora Woods, says she will retire on June 8, 2016. At 17, Justice Georgina Theodora Woods made the revelation when she witnessed her last Justice for All program at the Nsawam Medium Security Prison on February 5th. May. Since taking office, Mrs. Wood has sworn in 3 presidents. This afternoon, we are speaking to a human rights lawyer who has also worked with the Judicial Service on the Justice for All program in the person of Jonathan Osei-Wusu, and he is the Executive Director, founder, perfecter of Sentiments Foundation. Good afternoon, and thanks so much for your time.
Good afternoon.
On this program. Well, so the Chief Justice, Georgina Theodora Woods, leaves on next month, that is 8th June. You have worked with a program, Justice for All. How crucial was its introduction to reforms, prison reforms and justice delivery?
Just let me make a quick correction. I'm not a lawyer yet, so let me stick by my human rights advocate. You see, the Justice for All program was initiated in 2007, and after the initiation of this project, the main objective of the project was to decongest the prisons, because when you look at the UN Human Rights Rapporteur's report, it indicts Ghana as a state over the congestion in our prisons. So there was a need for us to do something to reduce the congestion. And it was so critical because people had been on remand, and at that time, the remand population was about 30.6% of the total population.
Which year are we talking about?
We are talking about 2007.
Okay.
So you can imagine the rate at that time. And so this program was basically to reduce the congestion in the prisons. But after a while, the introduction of Justice for All, the program faced several challenges. That is where her leadership comes in. She adopted the program and nurtured the program. As we speak currently, the program is under the chairmanship of an appeals court judge directly placed under the Chief Justice Office. So from 2007 to date, if we are counting on the success of Justice for All, and she is living at this time, then we can also attribute the successes that we have achieved or attained to the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana, who will be leaving us in some few weeks. And currently, I must say that the remand population, which was 30.6 somewhere in 2007, is currently 13.9 as at 24th of April. So you can see the reduction that has come, and it is because she took it as her own baby, nurtured it, and made sure that everything was on course. And now prisoners who have been unduly kept for a longer period of time in prisons were released. For example, yesterday, 9 years. There was somebody who was released and he had been on remand for 9 years. And please, you should know that we are not talking about people who are on trial. Not people who...
The human rights abuses.
They are not on trial. They are not convicts. They are people who have been charged and their cases haven't been heard. And they stay there for 9 years, 10 years, 11 years. She was in court yesterday.
Well, looking at the role she has played and from what you're saying, it means that for her to leaving would really have an impact on the program.
Well, a good leader, as our attribute to her, is the one who has probably left structures and good successor. She has made the structures work, and the structures are still there. So we think whoever succeeds her will be able to add on and then make the program a better one, to go to a larger extent, benefit a lot of people in the prisons. Well,
so which other reforms, in your view, has she made, to uplift justice delivery in the country?
I don't know if she may be listening, but I wish she was. I would have said I would have stood on my feet and saluted her because she has done extremely, extremely well. And I'm not the only person who can attest to this fact. We are all in this country. Look at the special courts that she set up. There were a lot of backlog of cases, and she came and set up the commercial court. It's a specialized court. Set up the human rights court. Set up the lands court. There were a lot of land issues, and the court couldn't handle. But in their own wisdom, they brought up this, and the lady Chief Justice championed this cause. Now, the commercial court, if somebody's container is at the harbor and faces difficulty, because the commercial court will see to the speedy trial of that case, there will be productivity and it enhances the economy. So you can see the role that her leadership has brought to several reforms, though the justice delivery system is not a perfect system now, but at least for the significant reforms and role that she has played, a quick one
before I let you go. You are a human rights advocate, right? So what would you say in a nutshell that the situation of human rights abuses, at various courts and then even in the prisons, what would you say?
Well, for now, I will simply say that it's not good, because for the prisons and their conditions, if they are taking 1 cedi 80 pesos a day for feeding, and the congestion, a cell room that can occupy is supposed to take the 10 people, are taking about 62 people, and these are real. So we need to go forward and then decongest the place and improve the lives of people, and that will lift the name of Ghana if we call ourselves the beacon of democracy.
Thanks so much for coming to the studio. I have been speaking with Jonathan Osei, and he is the Executive Director and Founder Perfecter of Sentiments. This is still Midday Live. We'll be back shortly with more. Well, but before then, the Bank of Ghana Muslim Fraternity has donated a sum of 6,500 cedis towards the surgical operation of Farida Aziz. Farida Aziz suffered from a hole in heart condition and needs 6,500 Ghana cedis to undergo surgery.
Check of 6,500 cedis to TV3, representatives from the Bank of Ghana Muslim Fraternity wished her well and hoped their contribution will get Farida the necessary treatment to replace her defective heart valve.
The Muslim Fraternity of Bank of Ghana decided to contribute their quota to support Farida to successfully go through the operations.
TV3 thanked them for their response to the appeal.
We take a breather here. Stay with us. We'll be right back. And that's all we have for you by way of news this afternoon. Thanks so much for watching. My name is AC Benewanyami. Do enjoy the rest of our programs.
this Saturday.
So these plants are expensive to run. Because they are expensive to run, they should be too expensive to buy. Because one offsets the other. Ameri's lawyers managed to convince government to buy the fuel. So we are responsible for buying the fuel. We are responsible, therefore, for maintenance schedule downtimes factored into the agreement. When you add the fuel cost and the rest of it, you are talking around 24 cents per kilowatt hour. In a country where 8 cents per kilowatt hour is the composite bulk generation charge set by the regulator in the space. You cannot justify this in any way you look at it. In any way you look at it, it's a completely flawed view.
Hot Issues shows every Saturday at 1 p.m. Make a date on TV3. Supported by 3FM 92.7 Accra, 3news.com.